All right, welcome everyone. We'll go ahead and get started since I know we waited a minute or so for other folks to join. But thanks for attending our Discoverfest Fall 2021 Student Org Prep webinar. We have information both for if you're here just as an attendee of Discoverfest and also mostly for our student orgs to know about the logistics and how to prep for this year's Hybrid Discoverfest. So let's go ahead and move on to the next. Okay, so just an overview of today. We're going to be going through all things Discoverfest for this fall. So a breakdown of how it's going to work and what to expect, and then talk about recruitment and engagement. We'll share some tips and then some cool resources and tools that we have for you all. And then also wrapping up with final reminders so you walk away knowing what you have to do next.
So I'll go over what is Discoverfest. So Discoverfest is basically our largest involvement fair on campus. Our biggest goal is to expose students to the various student organizations on campus. Like in the past or some years, we've had over 300. There's also been years that we've had more. So it's also a huge value of joining a student organization is that you get to meet new people and network. You can become a part of a community, a community of people who share the same values as you do. You can discover new ideas, interests, and hobbies, develop leadership skills, gain professional development, and it contributes to your personal well-being.
So this is what Discoverfest is going to look like for this fall. We will be doing a hybrid Discoverfest. So our day one will be in person, which is on Wednesday, September 1st from 11 to 2. And then day two will be virtual, just like the past Discoverfest have been from last year, where you sign up on Titan Link and you're hosting in your Zoom room. That will be Thursday, September 2nd from 11 to 2. So same time frame for both, but one in person and one virtual. And so before we move on to some of the student org logistics, we do want to share how you can RSVP as an attendee if you're looking to help out some folks that are going to be participating in Discoverfest. You can go ahead and visit Titan Link. Obviously, you're going to be logging into your student account and then using your CSUF credentials, and then you'll select events and look for Discoverfest, and then you can RSVP for either the virtual, the in-person, or both, depending on what you're looking to attend. So we do want to cover that only registered organizations will be able to participate. I know that our office has been saying that over and over again, but we just want to remind you one more time. The last day to complete your registration or re-registration is August 31st. So please be sure to submit your applications on Titan Link and to make sure that you're completing those trainings for your presidents and treasurers. And then if you miss LeadCon, please be sure to check Titan Link for the LeadCon article so that way you can look at how you can make up that attendance. And then this will just show you what the email will look like and how you'll be able to, or where you'll be able to access the sign up for Discoverfest. So this is what the message will look like. Once you're registered, you'll receive an email that will look like this. And then at the very bottom, it starts talking about signing up, and all this information is here, like the arrow pointed out. Okay, so again, signing up for day one, you'll be able to sign up or access the sign up for in-person event upon completion of your registration. So make sure you get all of those requirements done first. The sign up is done through Titan Link, but does not guarantee your org a booth. So because there are so many of you and probably a lot of you that are interested in boothing in person for day one of Discoverfest, it's really important that you get your stuff done on time and then try to RSVP for a booth in person if that's something that your org is looking to do. The availability is first come, first served. We'll have 80 booths available. And if no booths are available at the time that your org does sign up, then we'll keep you on a waiting list. So it's really important that once you sign up, you're committed to showing up and that you show up on time. And then the day of, if there are any organizations that don't show up or a no-show, we will let you know and contact you to have your leaders or your organization, whoever is representing your group, come that day. And then I did want to share a helpful resource to help some of you for prepping for the day of. So let me go ahead and pull that up. Oops. Okay, so this just has, it's a compilation of PDFs, some things that will help you for the in-person Discoverfest. So you can go ahead and download that and save it to your computer so you can have it as a resource for later. And then I'll go ahead and pass it to Ashley to talk about what day one will look like.
Hey everyone. So day one in-person Discoverfest is going to be a somewhat smaller scale, or actually a very much smaller scale this year. We're going to have it on our Titan Walk, as well as on the the east side of the bookstore. We'll have all of our different organizations who signed up, who were able to get the early access to sign up, placed on those tables.
Oh, Ashley, I think you're on mute.
Oh, I think that I was done.
Oh, okay, thank you. So looking at this map, our little info booth for SLL will be here, and then this other general areas where your org might have a booth if you sign up. So we do want to go over the COVID-19 mitigation measures. As always, it's recommended that you do a personal screening. If you're experiencing any COVID-19 related symptoms, please make sure that you remove yourself from campus or you do not come to campus. And then if necessary, please get tested. We do highly encourage face coverings for unvaccinated individuals outdoors where 6 feet of physical distancing cannot be maintained. And all of this information can be found at the Presidential Directive 22, also at the coronavirus.fullerton.edu for more information.
So definitely you want to use your event pass during these in-person Discoverfest. Event pass is going to be useful for event tracing and just like being able to get people's contact information relatively easy. To access your event pass is super easy. All you do is go to your Titan link on your mobile device. So you can go to fullerton.edu/TitanLink. And then once you're on your profile, you'll select your profile icon, and that's on the top right-hand corner. Some people will have a photo, or others will have the initial icon. So whatever the two you have, you'll click on that. And then once you click on that, you'll select Event Pass, and then it'll display your unique QR code. And then you'll be able to scan, check in, and then participate in Discoverfest.
Yes, so this QR code will also take you to directions to how you can get your event pass. So if you want to take a screenshot or if you just want to try it out right now, you can go ahead and do so. Okay, and then just some more information on our SLL info booth. Student Life and Leadership will be there for day one and day two, but for day one, we'll have a booth at the fair. We'll be available to assist students with questions. So any participants that are looking for a specific booth, we can help them out. We'll also have a QR code to scan with a map that's a directory of all the organizations that will be participating for in-person Discoverfest. And then we will also have fun giveaway items too. So we'll be giving out Haichu as well as other items that I'll go over in the next slide. But we will be using bracelets for this in-person day one. The green bracelet says that you're okay with high fives and fist bumps, just to let folks know, what's your comfort level being at an in-person event, especially at a fair on campus. And then the red says, I feel safest when I'm social distancing. So you can go ahead and stop by the info booth and grab a bracelet just to let other folks know how comfortable you feel being around others in the space. So for our day one giveaway items at our booth, we will also be having these Discoverfest canvas material tote bags, and then some Student Life and Leadership hand sanitizer, which is of course very handy with an event like this. So you can also stop by our booth to grab some giveaway items. So going over day two, Virtual Discoverfest, I'm sure some folks might be familiar with it because we have been doing it. We have done it twice now. But there is no capacity limit for participation in Virtual Discoverfest. So again, RSVP as an attendee is similar as what we talked about in the beginning. And then for student orgs to sign up, we'll go over that information in the next slide. Again, the sign up information is also accessible through the email once you complete your registration. So your student leaders will have access to that. And then orgs have the option of providing their own Zoom link once again. So this is how you'll sign up for day two. For those of you that are able to manage your organization, you can go ahead and look at your upcoming events. You should be invited to Discoverfest Fall 2021, and then you can click sign up and just fill out the information that it asks for you. So it's really important that all of your information on Titan Link is up to date, so that way if there are participants of Discoverfest looking for your org, or if they're just casually browsing, they know what your organization is about and they can click on your Zoom room. So again, don't forget to prepare for your org's Virtual Discoverfest. I know that sometimes a virtual setting might seem a little bit easier than preparing for an in-person or like having a booth where you're bringing all these props and things. But it's always important to prepare for the virtual space as well. So we want to tell you to consider icebreakers or general information and maybe handouts, like virtual handouts that you can have, like QR codes or even PDFs that you can drop in the chat while you're in your Zoom room, just so your visitors have something that they can walk away with. So a virtual flyer, if you will. And then also something to consider is collaborating with another org and utilizing breakout rooms to support each other, whether it is to have enough staff to cover your hourly shifts or create a system to help sort the visitors into rooms of maybe similar or related organizations. So remember that your org's virtual presence is just as important as an in-person first impression. So folks will be looking at, your social media, your Titan link, if you have a website, things like that. So make sure all of that information is up to date and the same all across the board. So our SLL virtual help desk will also be available as it was in the past. We will be answering questions and helping our orgs as much as we can. So if you have any questions, be sure to visit us there. And then you can also find more information on the virtual help desk on Titan Link when you're viewing the event as well. For day two, we also have giveaway items different than day one. So for day two, 10 lucky participants of our virtual Discoverfest have the chance to win a Student Life and Leadership fanny pack. And then there will also be another opportunity to win a Discoverfest giveaway, and more updates will be shared on our Instagram at SLL. So make sure you follow our Instagram to stay up to date, and then that way you can also have more chances to win some prizes because we have a lot of cool stuff that we're giving out. So the next portion of this webinar is going to be recruitment and engagement tips, and we'll just go over some things to consider as you're approaching Discoverfest and what to do before you start the fall semester. So how do we gain new members? So there's multiple ways that you can do that, and some of the resources that Student Life and Leadership has to offer is our YouTube channel. So some orgs may have submitted videos in the past, but if you haven't, or if you want to send in an updated one, student orgs can create their own 30 to 90-second promotional video just to share with the community what your organization is about, maybe highlight some cool events that you've done in the past, maybe some meetings that you've had as well, and just to give them an overview of what your organization looks like. So these videos will be featured on our YouTube channel. You saw the playlist on the screenshot. And then if you want more information or if you want to submit your video, you can visit this tiny URL. It's tinyurl.com/csufforgvideo. And then you can find more information on this if you just search on Titan Link. There's very helpful Titan Link news articles. So always be sure to check Titan Link for those resources as well. So another method is Titan Link. Obviously, it is a very important resource for organizations and for our office as well. So your organization, once it's registered, the information will be on there, but it's really important that you make sure your description, your meeting times, even forms of contact are up to date and are the ones that you're going to be using for this year. You can also add some photos. I know some orgs don't have a gallery of photos yet, but if you have photos or even screenshots from the past year of your general meetings, that's better than nothing. So that way folks know, these are the meetings and how recent they were. And so they understand that your organization is active and currently having meetings. Another cool resource that you can share with folks who are looking to get involved, but not too sure what they want to get involved in, is Student Life Connection. So this is a tool that helps us gather information about what students are interested in, and it helps us create a list of involvement opportunities that may interest them. It addresses a variety of involvement topics. So whether it's identity and communities, hobbies, interests, activities, academics and career related or leadership, they'll be able to find something based on what they submit for Student Life Connection. So this can also be found on the main page of your Titan Link. So if you want to go ahead and visit it, you can. We also have a tiny URL for that, which is tinyurl.com/studentlifeconnect. So next up, we're going to be talking about engagement. So this is more so like how to keep or maintain your membership. So again, it's really important that you publicize your org's events as much as possible. So whether it's on Titan Link events, your Instagram or Twitter, I don't know if orgs are still using Twitter, but if you do, there's that. And Remind 101 is a cool resource as well. It was used for classrooms, but it's also helpful when you're managing a bunch of members in your organization, and then even an email newsletter. I know some folks like to use like MailChimp. So just being sure that all across the board, your org's events are somewhere where people know where to find them and that they're consistently posted there. So that goes into stay organized. If you have all of your information in a place where others can find it, it will make it more accessible for others. And then when new members come around, they'll know where to look as well. It's really important that you're consistent in communication and hosting general meetings, just so sometimes it's like a little intimidating when you're trying to adjust to a schedule and you show up for a general meeting, but maybe it was like canceled last minute. So if you can create a consistent schedule or at least have those events open on Titan Link so people can view when they should be attending, that is super helpful as well. And then the last thing is to take the time to personally invite other students to your events. I know that all of these resources are available online and people can look up your org themselves, but sometimes it's really nice when someone reaches out and says, hey, I would love for you to attend our meeting tonight at 6 p.m. Or are you interested in this? Maybe you could come out to our meeting and see if you like it. Just because it's really nice when you welcome someone in and it helps them feel like they're a part of that space. So that'll help them feel more inclined to come back. So going on with member engagement, we want to know what activities are received well by your members. So if there's something that you plan for the first time and you get a lot of positive feedback, make sure you make note of that. Maybe that's something you can continue, make it a regular event, and then continue on with that. You always want to ask current members what things are going well and what they think can be improved. So that feedback, again, is a really important part of member engagement because you're able to share the members' opinions of what they like and what they think might be improved. And then you can take that feedback and help your organization grow. The next thing is to find ways to bring alumni, current members, and new members together. So the aspect of bringing together your community is super important. And I think having a change from just the regular members that you have in your general meetings can also make things really exciting and make bridges for connections for those who are in your organization. So just to bring something that is new and refreshing to the space, building those connections and bridging your community is really important. So next, we're going to be talking about event planning and spaces. So I know that this is like a common question that some student orgs have had. But again, I want to emphasize that it's really important before you even go event planning and reserving spaces that your organization is completely registered and has met all the requirements. Otherwise, you will not be able to do any of these things. So the first thing is you'll have your event. You're going to create it. And then you're going to go ahead and input all this information. So the name of your event, what the theme is. So if people are looking at events based on theme on Titan Link, they can find it. Go ahead and put a description, a little bit of an overview of what you're going to be doing for that event. And of course, the time and place. And if it's on Zoom, then be sure to put your Zoom location here. Once you complete all of that information, you'll go on to a page that looks like this. And it'll give you the option to reserve space on campus. So then you could submit this form to reserve a space on campus. And then it'll ask you these questions. And just make sure you read through this entire section so that you know what the requirements are for in-person events. And then click I agree. And then move forward. And then your event request and space reservation can go ahead and move forward. So what's next for Discoverfest? Just important dates for you to note. The last day to register is Tuesday, August 31st by 11:59 p.m. So it's really, really important that your organizations meet that deadline. Otherwise, you will have to wait until November to start registering for the spring semester. For Discoverfest Day 1, it is in person again, Wednesday, September 1st, 11 to 2 p.m. And then for Discoverfest Day 2, virtually, it is Thursday, September 2nd, 11 to 1 p.m. And then final reminder, be sure to complete your org re-registration requirements to be able to sign up for Discoverfest. But we went through all that information very quickly. So just to wrap up, are there any questions that we can answer?
Yeah, I had a quick question.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so for as far as the club, are we limited to how many members could be on the in-person?
Or do you mean like how many people can be at the booth?
Yeah, correct. So how many members could be, waiting at the booth for, yeah.
Gleanne or Ashley, do you think you could answer this question, please?
Since it's an outdoor event, we don't have a limit on how many people can be at the table. It's really up to the discretion of you and your members of like how you feel, how comfortable you all feel being around each other and encouraging each other to, practice, the COVID safety, there's no requirement for people to wear masks outdoors. But if you feel more comfortable wearing a mask outdoors, sharing that with your members that will be tabling and figuring out like a shift schedule for your group of what you would like to do for your organization. There's no hard and fast, like this is what's required for every group.
Thank you.
I just want to hop in. Hey folks, Chopin. I also work in the Office of Student Life and Leadership. I wanted to answer, I know Grace had a question about using Event Pass only for the orgs. They're able to participate in the in-person. We also encourage you to use it virtual too, because it's a really easy way to record people's emails. So you can email them and not have to worry about like, oh, we didn't type this down, or oh, we didn't record this, dang, the person already left, so we encourage you to use it, but you don't have to, of course, but it's a really, really great way to just get that information regarding that. Yeah, you can use Event Pass in the virtual setting. Absolutely. You can use it for whatever event you want, virtual or in person. I'm seeing another question about the link for in-person Discoverfest signups. I will defer to Gleanne, but I think it is your club has to be fully registered, meet all requirements before you get that email and that link to sign up. Okay, so you got to make sure you complete re-registration, have attended a lead con, and also president treasurer need to do that online Canvas training. All right, I'll link a Titan Link article that goes over all those requirements so that you can read that on Titan Link. But those, you won't get the link until you register. Will this recording be available somewhere for public access? Yes, I believe it will be on our YouTube channel, so it will be up there. And then I think there's some other questions about Discoverfest. I'm going to defer to Gleanne about notification.
Rihanna, can you go back to the slide of how like students can find the link to sign up for the in-person or virtual event? I think it's the next slide. That one. Yeah, there you go. So any group who's, once your group completes all 3 steps, you'll get an email like this one. And at the bottom of the email, there's information about how to sign up for both the in-person or virtual event. So the link is there. So the president and treasurer will have access to this once your group is fully registered. I know when I checked the Discoverfest sign up form, at least for the in-person event, we had not yet meet the 80 group maximum yet. So there's still space for student organizations if you're fully registered to sign up for the in-person event. And groups will find out if they are one of the 80 on the Friday before the event. So I think that is Friday, August, I want to say the 27th. So we'll send placement confirmation on August 27th. If you're not one of the 80, we are just running on a first come, first serve basis. So if you were group number 81 to have signed up, if somebody doesn't show up, you will notify you and let you know that we'll have a table. And so we'll tell you if you did not get a table as well. So either way, on August 27th, your group will get some kind of communication from our office about Discoverfest for the following week.
And then I think the last question in the chat, where can you see that you're all set for the online Discoverfest? So you should be, I'm assuming you mean if your organization is already registered for virtual Discoverfest, you can preview the event and see if your organization pops up on the list of orgs that are going to be present at virtual Discoverfest.
The only person that can sign up for the virtual Discoverfest is the primary contact in Titan Link. So oftentimes that's the president. And so the president will have to share a link in the Discoverfest event of which link they want to use for the event. So, most groups have been using Zoom and they just put a Zoom link for their meeting link in the Discoverfest event. So check with your primary contact or your president of your organization. Rihanna, can you go to the virtual fair event page and show them a preview of the online event, the virtual fair?
Oh, on Titan Link?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so now I'm on Titan Link. You'll recognize this page. So you can click on the virtual fair. Oh, and I'm not signed in. Let me sign in first.
I can share my screen if that's easier.
Okay.
So Rihanna showed you how to get there from the events page, but we also have a link, a news article. And so you'll see the news article here, and we'll post this recording in this news article after today. If you visit the event in Titan link, it will load. Maybe. There it goes. And so I can show you what it will look like. So we'll have a help desk where we'll have student life and leadership staff throughout the day. And then all the student organizations will show up here. Student groups will be able to filter based on interests and, academic colleges. And so it looks like a few groups have signed up. And so you can, if you select meet online, it'll take you to their Zoom room. So all these groups have already signed up. They put in a snippet about their organization and you can meet them online. If you select request to join, that means you are requesting to join their Titan link roster. So this meet online link will be live the day of Discoverfest from 11 to 2 on September 2nd. So I hope you all found that helpful.
Are there any other questions? Okay, well, if there are no more questions, that concludes our Discoverfest Student Org Preparation webinar. So thank you so much for attending, and we hope